All right, hello everybody, welcome back. Today we're doing a map overview of Symbiotic Surface. This is the Klyntar map, hybrid, and we're going to go over every little bit of it. Now, just to get ahead of things, this is a random Celestial 2 game that I found on Rivals Meta. This is not me, I'm not in this game. I did not ask any of the players, so all of their stuff is hidden. Now, we're just going to go over how to attack this map. I feel like on this map, a lot of people have a lot of really bad problems, right? There's a lot of full holds. There's a lot of like big misunderstandings. So the first thing we're going to do is we're actually just going to explore a little bit in free cam. And I will try to draw a bit, right? And so the first thing I want you guys to understand, especially since this is the first map overview that we're doing, is every Marvel Rivals map is kind of laid out in a similar way, where we have main, we have a right, and we have a left, right? This is, in general, this is how kind of all these games are done. And then there's also high ground and low ground, right? Now, for some reason, nobody who plays this map knows that there's a left and a right, right? The brighter cover for this map? Okay. But basically, I feel like a decent enough people know that this door exists. There's a health pack over here. You can go around this side. You have access to where their tanks normally stand. You can go over here. You can go this way. You can go even farther for a side flank. But it feels like nobody really knows that the right side of the map exists at all, right? So first of all, if we start on attack, right? Most people go out this door. There is a door here, and there is a door here. Okay? Really important stuff. A lot of the times you'll see people go over here if they try to portal, and then that's it. So we're just going to explore a little bit. This is all fine and good. Then this part actually opens up. You can jump up onto these boxes. I feel like a lot of the times if you're playing in DPS and you come up here, you can force the enemy tanks back all the way into the choke just by standing here, right? Do a little damage, stand here. Your team should have line of sight on you so you can get healing. And this will be enough to win your team access to this cover, right? Now, if we keep going, we have a health pack over here. This part is a little tricky because unless you're a movement ability character, you have to walk all the way up and then around, right? If you're a movement ability character, this goes pretty quick. You can jump up here, use your movement ability to get up top, right? Once again, nobody uses this. Like, you can go up here and you can win this choke and force them back without even taking any damage or anything at all. Just stand right here. Like, you have high ground directly on top of a choke. This is great. The next thing, nobody really knows that this is breakable. This is a breakable wall. You can break this, and now you have access to here. We can keep going down, right? Now we have access to a long flank. There's a health pack in this corner. You can shoot this. It'll bring you up to the other side. I think there's also... Actually, no. I'm misremembering. This doesn't go up. This goes long. And so this you can actually bridge across here, right? If you take this flank, you go up top, you do some damage there, and then you decide, oh, okay, my team pushed up, and these people push back, so I no longer have line of sight. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to shoot this bridge. It's going to extend. Now I have access directly to their backline, and if they already backed up, there's a good chance either a support is up here or they're just below it, right? And so you can take the fight on multiple angles. So before we even like get out the door, most people just run it down main, and then by the time you get there, you're already taking so much damage that a lot of these options are like not here. So I haven't watched this game yet, but I'm hoping we'll see some of this. Mag is pushing it down main because that's what mags do. Like this. And what do we have already? We have a Daredevil taking the side path. This is perfect. This is exactly what we got.
You're on my radar.
This map is like the main reason Penny gets banned. Yeah. So again, if you're having trouble with Penny on this map and they're not banned, just do what Namor does. Just do what Daredevil. Go around right here. Most of the time, Penny's going to put their nest here, here, or here. And you have access to all of these 3 spots from here breaking the wall, or from right here, right? Or at the worst case scenario, you come here, shoot it, go across, and now you break the nest, right? You don't have to force everything down main. That's like the point that I'm getting to. So Daredevil does a good job. He sees, he starts pulling people back. And what does this do? When he starts attacking from this angle, the green team reacts to it. 4 of them turn to look, and that leaves only Moon Knight and Hulk looking down main. And so now these guys can just walk down main because we have literally Daredevil didn't even do anything. All he did was like throw some projectiles, right? And like now he's kind of pushing it. Mess it up, but that's all it is. That's all it takes to like get around this choke. So this is just really important. Now, when you're playing defense, how do you kind of defend against this? First of all, since not a lot of people know that these exist, and they certainly don't play like it, I would just start by playing down main, right? You definitely want to play down main first and just count, right? If we count and we see 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 4 people here. That means there's 2 people unaccounted for, right? So I'm already thinking they're either somebody in this room, up top, or all the way over here, okay? So if you're playing a DPS or a highly mobile tank, up here is actually a great place to stand. And I love where this Hulk is playing because he gets to put pressure on the front line. At any point, if somebody drops to low health, he can jump down and then jump back up. He gets to keep an eye on this side path by listening, and he denies this high ground, right? So again, when I said earlier, if you come up here as a DPS and you start pressuring the tanks, they're going to have to back up. Well, if a tank is already up here, now it's denied. Now you have to fight a tank up here. And then your team on defense can still hold higher up, right? So this is perfect. A lot of the times if you have like a Psylocke or a Star-Lord or something and you're on defense, you can actually defend pretty well in this room. There's a health pack if you want to push a little farther, but it's a bit risky because you have to use a movement ability to get up. There's plenty of cover. You can back out from here. If they push too far too quickly, you can shoot their tanks in the back, or you can go for a full flank right here, and you can really get things done, right? Now, we can't move on from this point without talking about supports. Supports, this is actually a really difficult, this is a difficult choke to hold, specifically if people use things correctly, right? Now, the example we show, Daredevil pulled their attention away, right? I like where this rocket is playing, because if the rocket was playing here, instead of the Daredevil just throwing out some attacks and then like kind of backing up and pulling attention, if the rocket was over here, he could actually get a dive on this rocket, get him to either low health or get a kill, right? So when you're playing support, you have to know where your safety is, okay? A lot of the times your safety is going to be over here, and you're going to retreat to one of 2 places. You're either going to retreat, get out my handy drawing tools. You're going to start here, and you're either going to retreat to this cover, right, where you have access to a further retreat back or this way, okay? Or you're going to retreat back into the tunnel, okay? Now, how do you choose where safety is? It really depends on what you're being attacked by, right? If you're being attacked by a Squirrel Girl, a Bucky, a Punisher, an Namor, a Moon Knight, then you're really not going to want to go into here because they're just going to spam you out, okay? So we don't want to get spammed out. If you're being attacked by a bunch of divers or some really aggressive off-anglers, right? So if you have a Psylocke, Psylocks love coming into this room and attacking from this angle, then it's probably not a good idea to stay over here, okay? You can escape into this room, but the higher ranked you go, as we're seeing here, it's more likely that people are going to be here. And so you want to stay in a spot where you still have line of sight to your front line and the people you're helping, but you're not putting yourself in danger, okay? As the fights break down, you also want to not just use this lower part, but also use the high ground up here. This is a very defensible spot. It's very difficult to get pushed out of this area. And look at all the options you have. You can go back across this way. You can go back into this way. You can go down below, get a health pack, and then escape this way. So like this high ground is great. You can even, if you're really risky, you can go this way and get some high ground for a second. Sorry. You can get an escape route over here if nobody's pushing it. So as the fight breaks down, I want to see more and more people go up here. Now, if we're talking portals, so whether you're opening the game with a portal or we're opening, you know, an overtime with a portal, and we're really trying to attack with a portal, there's a couple different options, and it depends where the defending team is starting. Okay, so let's back it up a little bit, and let's say at the very beginning. All right, so where is the enemy team? Where is the defender standing? They're all kind of in this area. Okay, so if you're going to portal, you basically have two options. You can try a cutoff portal, or you can try a full flank portal. Okay, these aren't solid terms. I'm just trying to use what I can to describe what's going on. A cutoff portal would basically be you start the portal and then you put it facing out this way. Okay, so what this does is it's going to cut off the enemy team so they can't walk through here, right? Or they, at least if they turn around, they actually can't shoot because the portal is blocking it. Your team can walk out and start taking cover and, you know, Uno reverse the enemy team. Now we have here, we have this area. None of this is safe for the Rocket. Rocket now has to get to his team. He has to get out, go this way, probably use both of his dashes, or he has to try to survive on his own in here, which is not a good scenario. Okay. The other option is to full flank portal, which you can either do up here. And if you're going to do this, you need to give your team enough space to walk out of the portal without coming under immediate fire, right? So if you portal here, your team can walk out. Now they have cover. Now some of them can jump down. They can turn around this way. They have decisions, right? Whereas if you portal here, your team can't even walk out because they're going to fall down, right? If you portal here facing this way, all they have to do is turn around, and this Moon Knight can hit 6 people because they're all jammed into the middle, right? So when we talk about portals, that's really, you want to have a safe spot for your team to walk through the portal and then be able to contest stuff. Now, if it's a last second portal, good luck. Throw it on point. Make sure you touch, things like that. That pretty much covers first point. Maybe we'll watch a little bit and see how the fights break down, and I'll try to commentate. So right now, we're just playing down main. Hulk is trying to hold high ground a little bit. Now Daredevil comes in. We already saw this. Pulls some attention away. The Thor comes over here. These 3 focus. So now they've lost main. Hulk realizes that and has to jump back. What about TP on the flank on the ground? Oh, that's a good question. Down here, I think also works fine. You secure this little border. It just depends against the comp that you're playing against. Kind of like what we talked about earlier, where you don't want to use this room if you're playing defense in your support. You don't want to use this against a Squirrel Girl, a Moon Knight, just a spam heavy comp. Right, so if you're portaling and you notice they have a Squirrel Girl, they have a Moon Knight, they have things that can turn around and they can just keep you guys in here, then it's not a good idea. So generally, I would prefer also just using high ground is more efficient. So like if you look at the options that your team has, if you put them down here, their options are they can go this way and they can go this way. If they have a movement ability, they can use it to go up top. And then they have access to this. Whereas if you portal here, now the options, they can still go this way and they can still go this way, but they can use high ground, or they can choose to just drop down, and any of them can. So giving your team high ground is better. It is technically a little bit slower, and so there's an argument to it. The other thing while we're talking about portals that I forgot to mention is if you do portal to high ground, stay on the high ground. A lot of the times, people will come up here, and then their strange will just like jump off, and the mag will jump down, and then your team split. No. Stay on the high ground, force out some cooldowns first, and then only jump down when there is an opportunity. Okay? It takes time. You don't just want to like jump in and dive out, so you lose all your advantage. All right, so Daredevil dies, but Namor secures the kill on Rocket. So now that we're down 1, we have to play really conservatively, especially because we're down a support. So we want to back up. Now, if I'm attacking here, I'm thinking we got a W key. We got a W key, especially now. Push in. If we're playing defense here, this is a really weird spot to actually portal if you're defending, because it doesn't let you. Normally it would let you portal like here, but you have to like walk all the way out here or something. Like, it's pretty far. So yeah, losing first point is really tough. Portal's just kind of not an option most of the time. Moon Knight gets a kill though. Some signs of life from green team. Nice, nice. So let's go ahead and skip over. That's a basic overview of first point on Klyntar Symbiotic Surface. Okay. One last thing. Well, I guess we kind of already talked about it. When the fights break down, you have to find safety. Tanks, you need to push to cover or fall all the way back until you can break out. Supports, cover, stay by your tanks, take things carefully. There's really not a lot of cover in this map, so you're forced into here and into here until you can make your way out. So let's skip ahead to here. Now it turns into payload. Okay, now we're talking first point. A lot of the times, what happens is the first fight is so messy. First fight is so messy that the attacking team has a huge advantage after they take the point. They'll either have like 4 to 6 people versus 2. Okay, so that's kind of the exact scenario we have, right? We have Daredevil. So we have 5 people guaranteed ready, maybe even 6, whereas green team has 1, 2. Okay, so you want to go over here, and what I want you to do is I want you to W key as far as you possibly can and try to get to at least this corner, if not this corner. Wait, there's a question. When you win first point and enemies didn't spawn on the new spawn room, you can cut off the healers if they are in that by shooting that thing. Very true, yeah. But I want you to W key, okay? You can shoot this, as they were talking about, cut it off. Now they have to go around. I actually think you should go around anyway, but we can get there. When you're playing attack, I want you to push as far ahead as you can. A lot of people, they want to like sit on cart and get 3 on cart and get it moving. I don't care about that. The time spent trying to move the cart a little bit is not as valuable as going early and holding space. It's much more advantageous in this game to take space early and hold it aggressively and then back up and kite when you need to, versus staying on cart. The only time that's not true is if it's like overtime, then you need at least 1 person on cart at all times. And even then, it's still better to hold into chokes. If we go from the top, now that with that said, let's go from the top and let's make sure you guys know, just like before, there are 3 sides to this map. Middle, this side, and this side. Right? We all know middle. This is where everybody stands. There's high ground up here. There's high ground over here. There's a little room in here with a breakable wall. And that's middle, right? Right where the payload goes. Now let's go to the right side and the left side. Again, something about Klyntar. Nobody uses this, okay? You can go over here. You can break this. These walls come out. Things like that. You can go over here. Now we have access to the counter of this choke point. A lot of the times, defense, they'll hold here for a long time. You can come over here as like a Punisher or something and just do some damage, and they will be forced to back up, or at the very least, send a DPS to come deal with you, and then you get to fight a 1v1, right? You can keep it going over here. We can pick up a health pack. We can go top. Just to here. We can do this. Again, we can shoot their backline without contesting any of this. If you shoot this, it bridges across. Now we have access to here as well. You can keep going one more time, drop down another health pack, and right here, now we have access to their spawn, essentially. Okay, so that's great for attacking. Now let's go look at left side. We go left side. It starts all the way back here. We can go up here, health pack here. We have an angle. A lot of the times, people can hold a choke here. This kind of cancels that, right? We have cover, we have a health pack, we have a way for our team to heal us from over here. This is great. We can keep going. We can actually shoot this to extend our cover to give us more chance to get over here. There's another health pack. This is actually the spawn for first point. So this is where it gets even more complicated because you can go really far to the left. This is just a spawn room, so there's nothing in here. But it gives access back to here. Or you can go just a little bit, right? A little bit to the left. And now we have access again to this strong choke point. And then if you're getting pressured, you just shoot this wall. It comes out, and now you're not getting pressured anymore. You have access to high ground. You can go up here. Nobody ever really fights here. But this high ground is so oppressive. As defenders, you can just shoot down onto the enemy tanks if they all run it down main. But there's an easy access point to actually take advantage of here. We can go around this way. This little room is another place people don't normally fight in. It's a little bit awkward. Should I learn where the health packs are as a tank? Yeah, you should always know where health packs are. It's good for any role, whether you're main tank, dive, brawl, poke. It's good to know because even if you're not going to take even if you're not likely to actually use this health pack because you're a mag, right? You're a mag, you're probably not going to go up there. You're probably just going to get healed. But you probably will chase off a daredevil over here. And if you know he's at half health and there's a health pack here, now I know he's probably going to be at full health next time I see him. And that's good knowledge to have, right? And you can get that just by knowing where health packs are. So yeah, this is another spot that we can use in later. If we go over here, this wall is breakable, and then we can see into this choke point, right? So if you're a DPS or something like that, you can go over here, break this wall, and now we can shoot into the enemy spawn, essentially, and this crazy choke point, while not being so close that we're in danger of getting taken out. So we can be farther back. We can do stuff like that. It's great. We can keep going even farther. Now there's a high ground up here we can do that with as well. Down here, there's a health pack, and there's... I think this is... No, that's third spawn. Yeah. Then there's access here. So that's all three sides. So now, how do we want to use all these three sides? So let's watch a little bit. Ideally, this is exactly what I want to see. Nobody cares about the cart. We just push right ahead, and we try to secure the choke point. Hulk's going to do his best to fall back, not get picked, and get ready to help his team push through. Now, since we're playing Mag, we can't fully get there to the really good one, but instead we're going to get to this one. Now we're taking high ground. This is exactly what I want to see. This is so good. We're using the cover here. We're using the high ground, and now this is going to be so difficult to push out of. I don't want to see anybody on cart. You don't need it. Let it go. This is what high-level gameplay looks like. So let's watch Daredevil. Once again, he's been doing a good job of using the full map. And he's Daredevil, so he actually gets to see people. He sees this rocket's isolated and immediately starts taking him down, actually secures the kill. And now, even if he dies, he's gotten enough advantage for his team. Because trading a DPS for a support, super worth it. Look at the health bars, right? Red team, full health, except for Daredevil. Green team, Rocket's already dead. These three are fine. These two, both tanks, are almost dead. So Daredevil basically just got 3 kills by doing that. Literally, it's just using the map. That's all it was. He didn't do anything crazy. He just went over here, saw that the rocket was there, made a play, and that's all it takes. And now when you're on main, so Dr. you made a question of well, what good is, not exactly, but you said, should I know the health packs, right? Along with that, knowing the side pass and knowing that can help you make decisions as a main tank, right? So if you're a main tank and you're fighting for this spot, right? You see your Daredevil, look at him use the map. He goes across and he gets ready. So when you're playing Mag, it's all right, I'm going to be looking for a distraction. Okay. So right now, both tanks are fine. This is normal. Now I see my Daredevil over here. He gets a kill, and immediately the tank is like, I'm going to push in. I know I need to. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's take the space. Secures the kill. Perfect. This is exactly what you want to see. This is how it all like works together as a team. So when you're playing defense, now we've talked a lot about offense so far on point 2. Now let's talk defense. Now the reverse side, remember when we were on offense, offense wants to take as far up as possible, and defense wants to stop that from happening. So when you spawn, what does this Hulk do? Okay, let's watch this. What does he do? Does he go hold up high? I feel like a lot of low-level people will just start spamming here. That is a terrible way. You're just going to get staggered. So this Hulk does the absolute right thing. He goes out. He sees his team isn't here, and he just gets out. I would have preferred he goes a little bit faster, but not bad. Now his team is together. Now we can re-engage, okay? Now, the Hulk is actually doing a decent job of trying to contest high ground here. Unfortunately, like we already saw, they get a pick. So when you're playing support, DPS, tank, I want you to keep in mind that this is not safe, okay? This is contested territory. So this is essentially a kill box. If you're playing anybody on defense on this map, you want to get out of here as fast as humanly possible. And you want to do it all together, push through, get to this area. Because once you're in this area, now we have cover, right? We have escape routes, and we have multiple options. When you're in here, you only have one option, and that's to walk forward. Essentially. Technically, you can go up here, but like it's not very advantageous because you have to hit this or use a movement ability. Now your team's going to be split, and now you're just fighting out of a choke. And again, like you're going to run into a Moon Knight. You're going to run into spam. You want to get through this area as fast as possible. Go over here. Now, as they said in chat, perfect. This is why I prefer to use the right path. There is a right path. It's over here. It's great. I go through this way all the time. You have access to here. There's a health pack right here. You can shoot out of this. We can take this up and start fighting for high ground. If nobody's here, we can just take high ground. And now we're shooting here. And then drop down and push forward and help our team. And what does that avoid? If we take that right side, that avoids this Daredevil coming out from here and picking one of us up in the kill box. So that's great. Use the right side. Definitely take advantage of this. Now, we're not going to see it here in this game specifically, but let's assume something different happened, right? Let's go all the way back. They get the point, and let's say green team actually did get good spawn, or they're all already here, right? So how do we fight in this area? A lot of the times, if you can take a fight up here, this is pretty decent. You don't want to cross this point, okay? This is past here, you have no escape options. Here, you still have some good escape options. You still have some good cover. You can kite. You can bring it back to here, things like that. So this is really the farthest you want to hold up. DPS, you don't really want to go past this spot because, again, like if you're out here, you're going to get messed up unless you're a full flanker, obviously. If you're full diving, then you can go anywhere. But sometimes it can be advantageous to fight over here, especially if you notice on the enemy team, they have like a Daredevil who is using these paths. Then you can contest them and deny access to your backline by taking this. A lot of the time it's not going to happen. The better option for a DPS is going to be using this high ground, get some poke damage, peel back to get some healing, and then get some more poke damage, and then when they turn the corner, just be oppressive, things like that. This high ground is also fantastic. You're mostly going to be fighting down main, and then you want to react to enemies actually using the sidelines, right? So if you're fighting up here and nobody even bothers to come this way, just keep fighting up here. Just stick to them. And then if they push too far, then you could take advantage of it and fight down. Things like that. So kiting is basically where riding the wind of the fight. That's a good way to put it. Basically, if you're playing mag here or strange, you have a certain effective range, right? So you're right here. Mag can probably hit a bubble like here. Not a bubble. His primary fire here, right? So as the enemy mag, as the enemy mag moves forward, let's say they move forward this much, kiting is you move backwards this much, right? And you just keep them at this distance. So if they move forward, you move backward. If they move backward, you move forward, okay? And you try to keep them at arm's distance. That's what kiting is. And the way you use kiting is basically you kite until you reach a spot where they have to use so many cooldowns, abilities, and health to dig you out of that spot that it's advantageous for you to just stay there, essentially. So you would use this corner to kite, right? So you're doing damage. Okay, we can't really hold it too much. Now we get back to here. This is a very defensible spot because we have two different high grounds. Our supports are safe, and then their line of sight, they have to get around this corner to be able to see us. Whereas we're right here, they can shoot us from spawn. Like, you're not doing damage to that. So you do a little bit of damage, you back up to here. Now, if they want to do damage to you, they really have to commit. So that's the idea of kiting. So let's start. Now we've kind of talked about a fight here. Let's talk about a fight right here. So they're doing a great job. Red team is doing a great job of taking this high ground. You want to use this corner when you're attacking. You want to break this wall so they don't have access to it. And then, if possible, you want a off angle over here. The best case scenario is you do get an off angle here. Very difficult to get. You'll have to fight either a tank or a DPS to get there, or both sometimes. So that's a pretty good overview of second point. We already talked about getting out of this room as fast as possible. When you're an attacker, you want to defend this room as aggressively as possible and keep them in here. As you're doing that, you want to have at least one person keeping an eye open. Let's watch a little bit of what happens. I don't think I want to say too much more. If there's anything I'm forgetting, we might just go straight to third point unless anybody has questions about second point. Green team actually holds it. That's good. All right, let's scoot on over to third point right here. All right, third point. So once again, I want to make sure you guys know there are 3 paths, okay? Right here. We have the main path right here, all the way down. We have a side path over this way. And then we have a side path that branches off over here. And it goes all the way around this tree. That's how it works. So how do we use that in practice? Most people literally, again, just run it down main. This is asking for trouble, right? You're going into an enclosed area where you're much easier to hit. And they have really long lines of sight. What's a good way to learn maps? Personally, I pick a really fast character. I can B-hop on Hulk. I can also go on Angela, and I just run around. I play quick play, and then as I'm fighting, I just kind of go like, oh, what's over here? And I just try to find everything on the map and use it. I do it in quick play because it's much better to actually have people on the map. So you see like, oh, I went over here, and somebody else was here, so that's probably contested, right? You get a good example of what it is. How to break a spawn trap on this point. On point 2, back here. From attackers or defenders? Are you talking about from this point or here? Or this spot? I would assume this one, right? Guess we really didn't talk too much about this. Third? Okay. So from the attackers, sometimes you're right, like it is fairly common to get this point and then have a full thing. Attack, spawn trapping, defense. Oh, okay. We'll get to that later, which is way back there. For right now, this does get held sometimes. There is, once again, a left path over here. A lot of this debris right here is breakable, so you can actually go across. You can get some damage here. You can go up top. And then this is really where you're going to put pressure on the enemy supports and make the tanks back up. Okay. You can go through this side as well, but this is very highly contested because main has a sight line to it. So you have to use this cover, and then you can break out a little bit down to here. Much more difficult to use. I prefer this one if I'm just trying to break a spawn hold. That's this first part. There is a health pack here. This is all breakable, I think. This spot, a lot of this stuff is breakable, so you can actually go through here. There's a health pack down here. Hole above it. So if you're coming, I know this is going to get really complicated. Basically, if you're coming from this way, you can go down or you can go up. Right here. Here, you can get to a health pack. You can shoot up top. If we go back again, down. This is really dangerous because you don't have as clear of a escape route, but it's possible. It is a good angle you can use. Left side continues going. Now we have high ground access. This actually branches across, so you can walk this way. It's not as useful, but it is there. There's another health pack over here. This is full on into on territory, right? Yeah, so that's the whole left side. The right side of the map gets a little bit bunched up here on this whole point. Like I said, here, down here, there is a health pack. Here, there's some decent cover, and you can, if you can make it this far, you can actually put a lot of pressure on the tanks to get out of this choke point. And then, once again, there's another flank over here. If you shoot this, it goes across, so you can do some damage, shoot it, make sure nobody follows you unless they have movement abilities. Now we have access to their spawn. And down here, there's even a health pack. This is mostly for defenders because you're going to get caught out. So there's your left, right, and obviously we know middle. Okay, so the tank, should you just stay main? If you're playing a main tank, ideally, yes. But really, it kind of depends. There are times where you want to go on and off angle and put pressure. What you want to do as a main tank, like say you're playing mag, is you want to push down main unless it's not working. Once you figure out, hey, this isn't working, then you can actually lead your team down a side path. Because if all of you push over here, now we can actually do stuff. So it's one of those things where it's like, is it working? Yes, then keep doing thing. If it's not, then let's try something else. Just as long as you're playing with your team and we're all on the same page. So a lot of the times, once again, when we're attacking, I don't care about 3 on point. I don't want to push the cart. I want the space. So the mag, the daredevil, the red team, they're doing a great job of seeing these people have to retreat, right? This is a 5v1, 2. This is a 4v2. So we just push forward and we force them back. We walk all the way in. We want to hold up, ideally about right here. We don't really want to go too much farther than this. Here is a good job. So now we're kiting, right? Now the mag is kiting. We're doing damage. We have our daredevil fighting on the flank. And look at this. Now the enemy team is like, hey, this daredevil is flanking the whole time. Let's get a daredevil of our own and contest this side, right? So this daredevil, look at this. He's actually, just by being here, now we're contested. This is so good. This is great. You love to see it. So now, red team, they get a pick, and then they push forward with the Mantis ult. And now we just W key into their spawn. Again, like, look how little emphasis they're putting on the cart. They're just W keying right into their spawn. This is what high-level gameplay is. It's much easier to hold space early and aggressively than it is to push the cart and then take the space later. Cart can push itself. Base cannot take itself. And now green team, if we're defending here, this is kind of a weird spot because there's only 2 doors. And this other door is like never really utilized. It is decent enough, especially if you're a DPS or a support. Come over here and start doing damage. Take a flank. Because if you start pressuring this Mantis, the Mantis has to back up. The Bucky's going to turn it, look at you. The Mag might even turn, maybe. But even if they don't, you've already pulled 2 people off the front. And then your team can push through the middle. Okay. If you go on the right side, we can go over here. We can go up top. We can go down this way, do some damage. When they push us, shoot this, wall it off. We can go up here. There's a health pack, start doing damage. But again, this is just something about this map. Everybody just wants to run it down main, whether they're on attack or defense. Nobody uses these side paths. So the second you start using these side paths, you're going to see the games look dramatically different from where it is. Second door does not exist. I don't know what you're talking about. That's just a wall thing in green. So don't just sit on cart. Absolutely. You don't want to sit on cart. You want to push as far forward as you can reasonably hold. Okay. So if you're in low elo and the enemy team is really bad and you can reasonably hold really far up, then do it. If you're in low elo and your team is really bad and you try to push forward and nobody comes with you, then you have to pull back to where you can reasonably be healed. All right, so as this fight breaks down, you're going to see the supports use the high ground if they can and stay out of the way. You're going to see green team supports stay over here to the side where they have cover, either here or over here. You're going to see DPS using high ground and trying to turn the tide, and you're going to see tanks brawl. Pushing. Now there's an ult, so Rocket needs to back up. Loke has to push in with an ult. Namor ult. And all it takes is a support ult to like really hold things back. So I mean that's kind of the overall for how this map works. Those are all of the side paths. There's middle, left, right. There's a ton of health packs on this map. There's tons of ways to break through these choke points that so many people have such a problem like getting through. So before we end it, does anybody have any further questions for specific spots? We didn't really talk too much about defensively. Again, you want to hold up as far up as possible. If you can, this is a great spot to hold defensively because it cuts off access to at least one of their side paths, if not kind of both, because you could shoot over here and they can't get direct access. They have to use something to get through. And then you kite back to here. Here's another spot where, again, you can cut off access to this side path, right? You can defend here from all 3 spots. And now they only can push down here or main, essentially. So the farther up you push, the better. I feel like once you understand the concepts of how push and pull of a fight works, defense and attack start looking a lot alike. That's very true. Very true. As far as push and pull goes, that's very true. It's very different for how you use ults and how you value things, but yeah, I totally agree. But yeah, if there's no questions, I think that's it. That was an overview of Symbiotic Surface. But yeah, that's it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any further questions, let me know. Oh, question. So you want to push up as far as you can without leaving your team. Yes. If you can push up, still get healing, and realistically hold the space that you're taking, that's what you want to do. When you're in bronze, silver, gold, plat, a lot of the times you'll try to push up, and everybody on your team will just be like, we need to sit on cart. It's like, okay, if you guys aren't going to help me, I just have to give up that space and hold back. How would you distinguish between attack and defense ults between roles? I wouldn't want to go that general. I'd rather talk specifics. We could talk about like is this ult specifically better for defense and offense? And I think it also depends on what rank you are, because some ults are better to enable your team, but only when your team is good enough to be enabled. So, ask me, why did you leave point today on Central Park game when I tried to hold their spawn door? Yeah, that's how it goes. But yeah, I think that's it. There's an overview of Symbiotic Surface. Yeah, let me know in the comments below if this helped you or what you guys think. Take care. God bless. And catch you in the next one. Bye.